Product Designers today, and I have the pleasure of being with Eugeneia Simmons from Simmons Interior Design. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Eugenia and I met online.
Yes.
We met through Instagram, and she told me a little bit about her story that just touched my heart. And so, first of all, you are new to design. So how long have you been in business?
For almost 3 years now.
3 years. And this is your second career.
Yes.
And I'm going to back up right now, though. When did you first feel like you got excited by the world of interiors?
I think as a little girl, I used to change my room around a lot.
Yeah.
Constantly change my room around. I had bedding for summer, bedding for the winter, and bedding for the spring. And I would always rearrange the little tchotchkes on my dresser.
Yes.
And I guess I told you before, my mother worked for an architect. She was a domestic and worked for an architect. And I would stand in his office and just peer over his drawings all the time. Mm-hmm. All the time.
Yes. And you told me that you made shoebox houses, which was a favorite of mine.
Yes, I would collect any empty shoebox I could find and tape them together and cut the windows and doors out and make my furniture out of empty matchbox boxes and empty threads of spool, Kleenex, anything I could find. Make the paper dolls and put them on the sofa and sit them down and tape them there. Yeah, anything I could find.
Those were great projects. I often wish that I still had mine, because or at least at that point, if we had cameras, so readily, like our phone cameras, I would have loved to have taken some pictures.
Yes.
So then I'm going to fast forward a little bit. You're paralegal, working paralegal, and then you got ill.
Yes.
And can you share a little bit about what happened to you and your life, and then what brought you to design?
Well, I was running a paralegal business, and I was an avid runner, so I would run about 5 miles every day. Mm-hmm. But I started noticing that I was having a lot of trouble running. I was stumbling a lot. I was having a lot of muscle pain, a lot of muscle spasms, to the point where my legs would actually contort. And then one day I woke up and I just literally couldn't move. It felt like my legs had gained a ton, because I knew they were there. I could feel them, but I literally could not move them. I couldn't form a word, so I couldn't speak. I couldn't do anything.
Diagnosed with?
I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. It took 18 months to get the diagnosis, but finally diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
And I know before you got sick, you were living, Huntington Beach. You said, your 4 kids, correct?
Yes.
Beautiful life. You get sick, and your life just totally changes, and you
lose everything. Absolutely everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know that there's a big story there, and I do want to pursue it with you. But when did you start to gain it back and then say, I'm going to be a designer?
I would have to say that happened about 4.5, 5 years ago. I was diagnosed with bladder cancer.
Oh, goodness.
And I just kind of looked at my life and I thought to myself, I haven't done what I wanted to do with my life. I did what I thought everyone else expected me to do. Growing up in an abusive environment, you learn to people please. And I had a point to prove to them that I was okay. So I chose to go into a career that would make me seem respectable. Instead of doing something that was creative and from my heart, because it was considered irresponsible. So
then you're like, you know what? I have come from against all odds.
I went through chemo. I had surgery, went through chemo, and I came out of that. And my husband encouraged me to do it. I really just picked up drawing again. My children didn't even know that I could draw. Started picking up drawing and painting, and my husband said, "What are you doing? Who drew that?" I said, "I did." And he said, "You need to do what you've always wanted to do."
You went to design school.
So I went to design school. And during that time in design school, I had 2 major surgeries and still managed to maintain a 4.0 GPA.
Congratulations.
when all the younger kids were
Woman
struggling.
is determined, you know.
All the other young girls are struggling with their lessons, and I'm like, no, get it together. You have no excuse. Come on.
Yeah.
But I loved it. It came easy to me.
With your experience in a wheelchair and everything, now in your design practice, I know one of your niches is differently abled design, so designing spaces. So when you come to Vegas and it's your first time here, when you go to any market or when you're researching online or however you get your materials, how do you, what are you looking for when you're designing for the differently abled?
I think the first thing I do is look at how they're challenged. Because I think that's an important thing, is to remember they're not disabled, because there's nothing wrong with them. They're no different than anyone else. They have challenges that they have to overcome daily. So I really go in and I look to determine what is their biggest challenge and how can we solve that problem. Because we can't make the challenge go away,
Right.
but we can make modifications to make it easier for them to function in their space and still maintain a sense of independence.
Yes.
That is what's most important. During my time in a wheelchair, that was one of the things that was hardest for me, was the loss of my independence.
Yes. Yeah.
That was the most challenging.
Eugenia, I am so glad that we met. I mean, you know we have to end this because we're already over time.
Yes.
But you've got a lot to share, and I really admire your strength and determination, and you're a beautiful person. So I'm so glad that we met.
Thank you.
Now we got to say goodbye.